The problem isn't that Johnny can't read. The problem isn't even that Johnny can't think. The problem is that Johnny doesn't know what thinking is. He confuses it with feeling. Thomas Sowell, my guy. What's up, everybody? We back again for another round, part two. Let's dive right on into this thing. So today is August 4th, and look at that. The debt has climbed up to no surprise. We are now at $35.1 trillion in debt, and number does nothing but go up. So right now, the current price of Bitcoin is at $58,890. We're down about 14% from last week's video. We're only 20% from the all-time high, and people are panicking. I don't understand it. I guess this is just a part of the game. If people don't realize that Bitcoin is a very volatile asset and the price can't just go up. If the price just currently went up, probably a lot of us wouldn't have been able to get in at the prices that we got in at, and it would just be sky high by now. So it's a volatile asset, just like gold, or not like gold, but as an example, when you store your value in gold, you're not looking to go pay your bills with little pieces of gold. You're not looking to, when you purchase real estate, when your real estate goes up or it goes down, you're not looking to pull out of that real estate to go pay your cell phone bill, to go pay your rent, to go, put gas in your car and things like that. So the money that you're supposed to be storing in Bitcoin is supposed to be a store of value. It's supposed to be a savings. Put it in there, forget about it. Don't pay no attention to the price going up and go down. Just know that you're trying to escape the current system of the dollar devaluing every single second of every single day. All right, keep that in mind. Let's see, where are we at on reachable nodes? I like to look at the price. I like to look at the reachable nodes. I like to look at transactions just to see where we're at. But on reachable nodes, we're at 19,873. We're up about 2% from last week's video, and we're still at a little over 1 billion transactions, waiting to hit that 1.1 billion. We'll get there eventually. And it's also going to be a nice day when this sats per dollar number is down to about 1. I think we'll definitely see that in our lifetime. And eventually it's going to get to less than 1 at some point in time. Let's take a look and see where we're at on stock charts. I like to look at this to take a look, see at the RSI, see if we're overbought, oversold. Over 70 is typically considered overbought. Under 30 is typically considered oversold. I was thinking about doing something to where I made purchases every time we were considered oversold, and then I was also thinking about just DCAing every week. So I started my DCA last Monday. I recorded the video on Sunday. I made my purchase on Monday. I'll make another purchase tomorrow. I'm still kind of up in the air how I want to do the oversold thing. So TBC on that. But let's see. Let's break this down within a year and see where we're at on the year. So let's see, we're currently under the 200-day moving average. We're currently under the 50-day moving average, and we're under the 20-day moving average as well. It's a good time to get in. Like I said, I'll make my DCA purchase tomorrow. And then if we look at charts.bitbo.io, this is PlanB's version of the RSI. His metrics are a little bit different. They have it broken down on here. If you scroll down to the bottom, I'll link everything in the description. But PlanB's RSI is 60.82. He's 100 trillion USD on his social media platforms. Go check him out. Dude gets a lot of hate for some reason, which I think is very strange. Between his models and things like that. Anyone that's in this space, I think, that's trying to help people, that's trying to educate, that's trying to give people a good idea. I salute that. Regardless if they're going to be right or wrong, people are going to be right, people are going to be wrong. But in general, he's taking the time out of his day to put these things together to kind of give people a better understanding and kind of help people. So there's a lot of other stock to flow charts and a lot of other things out there, a lot of other price prediction charts out there, but his has been pretty solid. You can go back and check him out. He's been consistent with his videos and update. He just put out one of his monthly updates recently. Go check it out if you like. As far as reachable nodes, Globally, we're at 57,425. I still haven't been able to get an answer to see why this number goes up and down so much. I've only been tracking it for about a month and a half now, so I guess I need some more time to see if it continues to do that or not. I reached out to a few people, still haven't been able to get no responses yet. But at the beginning of July, we were at about 20,000 reachable nodes. And then midway through July, it dropped down to about 7,000. And then towards the end of July, it climbed back up to about the 19,000 range. And we've been kind of hovering around 18,000 and 19,000 reachable nodes here in the United States. So if anyone has any information, or if you can point me in the right direction, someone that has a better explanation of that, that would be great. You can comment it down below and let me know. Some recent news since last week that has happened. Senator Lummis, she introduced the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve legislation, pretty much saying that the government should purchase $1 million of Bitcoin per year over like 5-year span, accumulating 5% of the total Bitcoin supply. If you would like to know, go deeper into this, like I said, I'll link everything below, but there's a link on this website here. And then it brings you to this right here, and I'll give you guys all the links, so you don't have to worry about that. If you want to check out her interview of her talking about it, which was really good, it was on the Bitcoin layer, which was hosted by Joe and Nick. Really like Nick a lot. Very knowledgeable when it comes to the financial world, and he breaks things down to things that I always curious about and never really heard so many people talking about. Found him on a couple different podcasts. So go check out Nick. Go check out these guys. They have a great show over there at the Bitcoin layer. Very informative. I like checking them out. But this was a very good interview. Senator Lummis, she definitely knows what she was talking about. And they were asking her some very good questions. So shout out to them for putting that together. Some other new news, over 41% of Mt. Gox Bitcoin distributed as creditors continue to hodl, however you want to say it. So pretty much, if you're not familiar with Mt. Gox, they were hacked about 10 years ago. They were hacked of their Bitcoin. They were able to get it back, and they started distributing it to their customers. And a lot of the customers at the time, if you go look and see what the Bitcoin price was 10 years ago versus now, plus everyone got 10 more years to do more research and knowledge and actually see where this thing is going. So I would assume most of them are going to hold. I'm sure some will probably sell a little bit, maybe pay off a house, pay off some debt, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I'll link this so you can kind of dive a little bit deeper into that. The US government moves $2 billion in the Silk Road Bitcoin. So the government seized $2 billion of Bitcoin from Silk Road, which was a black market website doing illegal things. Governments got their hands on that. And when Trump was talking about keeping 100%, supposedly, that's why they moved it. Who knows what the correlation has. But like I said, I'll link it so you can dive a little bit deeper into that article. This is something that I've been sharing to my family and friends and people I care about, that I've been trying to orange pill and get into the Bitcoin space. 4 suspects forced a Bitcoiner to transfer Bitcoin before killing him. It's a very unfortunate thing. And, it was for 170,000. I don't want to say 170,000, like 170,000 isn't nothing, but it's definitely not anything worth anybody, no matter where they're at, losing their life over. So hopefully Ukraine will bring that person and his family, justice by doing what's right over there. Like I said, I don't know what their laws are and how they punish people for crimes like that, but hopefully their family gets peace, because that's a horrible way to go. Don't keep your Bitcoin information on pieces of paper. Don't keep your Bitcoin information on your phone, on your computer. This is your money that you're talking about. So this is the thing about not keeping your money, your currency in the bank, is you're in full control of this. So you need to take the proper steps to educate yourself, getting yourself the proper hardware wallets, getting yourself the proper ways to store your keys, whether it be in your head, whether it be on metal plates, put them in safes, put them somewhere that no one has access, and stay safe out there, because people are watching, people are lurking, and people, if they're willing to kill you over 170, there's people that have died for less amounts of money. So stay safe out there. Russia approves Bitcoin and crypto for international trade to evade sanctions. I believe this is going to be like the domino effect, because a lot of countries, what they do is they store other countries' currency for trade. And I think we're going to go away from that. Bitcoin solves that problem. So I believe that a lot of countries will start allowing Bitcoin and potentially uh, other cryptocurrencies for international trade, which is just good for us. Hong Kong's top online brokerage introduces Bitcoin trading. I believe all the countries out there that have brokerages and allow trading in their countries, Bitcoin will be on all platforms at some point in time, gradually, then suddenly. The University of Wyoming establishes a Bitcoin research center, which is really dope. You know, someone has to lead the way. Shout out to the University of Wyoming for leading the way when it comes to that. I believe Bitcoin will become part of the curriculum at most, if not all, universities. If you look at a lot of elementary schools down in South American countries, they're already teaching their kids how to about mining Bitcoin. They're teaching them how to run their own nodes. They're teaching them proper storage, things like that. So shout out to University of Wyoming for doing that. Really cool, starting the way. So before I kind of get into this one, I stumbled across a guy named Eustace Mullins. He has been trying to expose the Fed and let the people know what's really going on. Also, there was a book, not by him, by someone else, The Creature of Jekyll Island, which was another great read. But just putting those two books together will really open your eyes up to what's going on with the Federal Reserve, how they came about, and why we kind of are where we're at today. And so he talks about how, you know, there are ways for us to be able to end the Fed, and Congress is the way for us to end the Fed. So it has to pass the House, and it also has to pass the Senate. So back in the late 90s and mid 2010 or early 2010s, Representative Ron Paul, when he was in office, he had that act to abolish the Federal Reserve, and it was passed in the House and it was shut down. It was shot down in the Senate. So it makes you wonder who's controlling the Senate over there. It really just makes you wonder. But Representative Massie out of Kentucky, Thomas Massie, he's introduced another act similar to what Ron Paul tried. So this is come out. So we'll see what happens with this. I believe it's probably going to end up being the same thing. It's going to pass the House, get shot down in the Senate. Kind of that good cop, bad cop thing. The best thing that you can do for yourself, honestly, the further I go down this rabbit hole is, you know, get yourself mentally healthy, get yourself physically healthy, store your savings in Bitcoin, and just enjoy your life, because there's so much power and so much control with the Federal Reserve. They have their hands over everyone, and it's not even just this country. It's, you know, it's a lot. It's pretty much every country. You know, it's a small group of banks that pretty much own the world, or Federal Reserves around the world, central banks that own pretty much everything. And, you know, these guys they're willing to go to war. They're willing to do some very bad things to stay in power. You know, these guys have access to be able to print money, print currency and everywhere. So, you know, nobody should have that type of power, because it will always be abused. So we'll see how this goes, and we'll see where things go from there. But that's my little 2 cents on that. All right, so a quick rundown about Eustace Mullins. So I seen him on he was on a TV series, but somebody uploaded it on the YouTube. I'll try to link that in the description as well, so you can go watch that. It was really good. His book, that he came out with many books, but one of the books that he was talking about was The Secrets of the Federal Reserve, which I just recently purchased. And when I get it, read it, I'll give you guys some updates and notes on that. But just some quick notes on the podcast, or I keep saying podcast, so used to just saying that, on the program that he was on that's uploaded on YouTube, is the Fed is not a government agency. It's not federal. There are no reserves there. They had their money monopoly meeting on Jekyll Island in 1910. The Creature of Jekyll Island is a really good book, not by Eustace Mullins. It was presented as a bank reform to eliminate bank failures and financial depressions, but then we turned around and had the biggest depression we've ever had less than 2 decades later after the Federal Reserve was created. So make that make sense. It was illegally passed December 23rd, 1913. Income taxes, the Rockefeller Foundation and the Federal Reserve Act were all passed in 1913. Coincidence? I don't know. You tell me. USA entered the World War I in 1917, and then the Great Depression in 1929. Uh, One of the books that I'm currently listening to right now, I like to read hard copies and listen to audiobooks. I kind of bounce back and forth throughout the day, depending on what I'm doing. But one of the audiobooks that I'm currently listening to is The Bitcoin Dollar by Mark Goodwin, which is really good so far. Just some cliff notes on the book, not everything that he's talking about, just kind of keep it short. He talks about the petrodollar. So the petrodollars are crude oil export revenues dominated and denominated in US dollars. He talks about the 2008 bank crash and how Stephen Mnuchin profited and later became Secretary of Treasury under Trump, how we went off the gold-backed system in 1971 to an oil-backed system, aka the petrodollar, the invasion of Beirut. Which, a side note, which got me thinking, the invasion happened in 1958. I'm curious if that was the seed that the government planted to eventually infiltrate the Middle East all the years later. He doesn't talk about that in the book. It's just something that kind of got me thinking, but I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper into that because now, it got me curious. He talks about how El Salvador was the first nation to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. He also talks about how big businesses like Walmart, for example, were to adopt Bitcoin as a form of payment, they would be saving 3% on credit card settlement fees. So if any of you business owners out there are listening to this and you pay that 1.5 to 3% to settle those fees for your customers using credit cards, Bitcoin will slash that number drastically and will allow you to save and give you more, overhead. The first CBDC, the Central Bank of the Bahamas, was started in 2020, the sand dollar. He talks about the SBF fiasco, the FTF madness. He goes into that a little bit. He talks about the 1933 Executive Order 6102, which was forbidding hoarding of gold coin, gold bullion, and gold certificates. And he also was talking about in 1971 how Nixon took us off the gold standard. So he was kind of talking about all the things that kind of happened in between those from 1933, 1971 so far. That's where I'm at. I got about an hour and a half to 2 hours left. It's a short listen. It's about a 4-hour listen. So I'm a little more than halfway through. So by the time I do my next session, I will be all the way through. Here's a cool map that I like to look at to see what businesses are accepting Bitcoin, or sometimes it's ATM, sometimes it's businesses. So go on here, see if there's anything in your area, and go get used to spending in Bitcoin for a little everyday thing. We're early down in here in some countries in South America. It's kind of a regular thing for them. Eventually we'll start seeing numbers like this. We'll start seeing that on this map. So this would be cool to watch and see the numbers grow, and let me know if you have some businesses that are in your area that accept Bitcoin. This Thunderfunder, I don't know. I can't remember where I found them. Maybe it was an article, or maybe they were at Bitcoin 2024. Don't quote me on that. But anyways, so their mission is to provide retail investors access to investments while supporting the growth of open source projects. They're committed to full regulatory compliance, investor education, and fostering a transparent investment ecosystem. So it's a way for you to invest in businesses that are open source and more than likely that are taking Bitcoin as form of payment. So I need to dive a little bit more deeper into them, but this is something I definitely want to do. I want to help businesses and companies out there that are trying to adopt Bitcoin as a form of payment. I think that's really cool. I think it's our job to support the system that we're in. So we're leaving one traditional system that we were forced into this new system. And I feel like everyone needs to do their part. I need to start running a node, and I need to look into doing as much as I can, really. So check them out, check them out, do your research on them, see what you come up with. I got to do some more research on them, but so far what I've read up seems pretty cool, and I'll dive a little bit more. And speaking of other cool things, the Fold card, I just got mine. I haven't got my card in the mail. It should be here next week, but I will be using this on a regular basis, and I'll keep you guys up to date on this. So you can buy Bitcoin in some states, you can't. So it depends on where you're at. You can pay bills, you can get rewards, and you can spend use it as a debit card that anywhere that takes Visa. You can pull money at an ATM, so you can put your Bitcoin on there, go to an ATM, take out in dollars if you need to, spend something in dollars real quick. If you're somewhere that doesn't take Bitcoin or somewhere that takes Visa, you can spend that way and you're getting sats as rewards. So I've already gotten sats as rewards, and they've already, let's see, since 2019, they've already given out $40 million in sats. So this is what the users have stacked up, and I will be one of those users here soon. So check them out. I'll post a referral link. So if you want to get some sats and I get some sats for signing up, you can. Proton.me is a way for you to be able to, they have a wallet, and then you can also, one of the features that I liked about them was that you're able to send someone Bitcoin through email, which I think is really cool. Here we go right here, Bitcoin via email. So one of the goals of Proton Wallet is to bring Bitcoin out of the domain of the tech savvy and into the hands of anybody who wants to access the financial freedom it enables. This is done through conscious user experience and design choices that are apparent once you use the wallet for the first time. So I'll play with this and check it out. I just seen them post something on their Nostr account, so go check them out. Dive a little bit more into this. Like I said, do your research on anything before you just fully use it and fully dive in. And I'll kind of be the guinea pig for some of you guys if you want to wait till I try it out. And so I'm just going to try to use it to send somebody email. That I want to try to send Bitcoin through email and see how that goes. So I'll be the guinea pig for you guys. Same thing like with the Fold app. And then eventually with Thunderfunder, unless any of you guys beat me to it or have already used some of these, just comment down below. Let me know your experience, pros, cons, or anything like that. Hope.com. This is Michael Saylor's website that he put out for free. He has all his interviews, podcasts, free resources, information for corporations, different country leaders, different websites. He has, if you're looking for maybe some books to read, some great book recommendations on here. I've gone through pretty much all of them. I have about maybe 5 left. I'm currently listening to What Has the Government Done to Our Money? That's another one that I'm listening to. Some different papers on here, different articles, some keynotes, some presentations. Like I said, it's all free. If you're looking to get more knowledge, if you're looking to kind of expand your knowledge in the space, this is a great website that has a lot of free resources. Obviously, when it comes to the books and things like that, you'll have to purchase them yourself. Or if you're trying to help someone get a better understanding, they're not necessarily orange pilled yet. This is a good resource for them to just, hey, all it's going to cost them is their time, and the knowledge that they'll end up gaining from it will be exponential. So check that out when you get a chance. And then something before I end on this, let me just go ahead and bring up my purchase that I had. So I told you guys that I'm going to be the guinea pig for DCAing. So every time I do these, I should have a new $100 purchase. I'm going to do $100 every week, every Monday. And so last Monday, when I made my purchase, the Bitcoin price was at $67,365.99. I was able to get $99.22 worth of Bitcoin at that price. Strike took their fee. Shout out to Jack Mallers and those guys of what they're doing at Strike, opening up in different countries, leaving their footmark in continent to continent. Hopefully they'll get on all 7 continents. I don't know what's going on down there in Antarctica, so that's why I said 6. But is there a secret society going on in Antarctica? Have y'all seen any of them podcasts that talk about what's really going down out there? I don't know. Really strange to me. If you guys have any good documentaries or any good stuff on what goes down in Antarctica, I'm definitely curious. I'm interested in that kind of stuff. But anyways, shout out to those guys and what they're doing. They're continuing to innovate. They're continuing to add new features and stuff like that. They might not necessarily be the cheapest when it comes to fees that you have to pay, but to get $100 worth of Bitcoin, have to pay less than $1. That's a win in my book. And they're doing great. And I want to support him and what he does. He has a great show that I keep up with. He brings his dad on there, which is very knowledgeable. And his dad has been through a lot of stuff when it comes to the financial sector. His dad has been in the game for a long time, so he's got to see all the stuff people like myself and people that are around my age and younger didn't get to see. And so it's cool to listen to him. It's always good to listen to the older generation that was around for like that .com era. get so excited about Bitcoin, because they seen what was happening with the .com era and they see what's happening now. So just all good energy. But anyways, here's my buy. So I'll share my buy with you guys every time I do it. But this is something I want to end on. I always want you guys to see. 1970, this is when the gold standard hit, but we were already taking a big dip before that anyways. The dollar was already crashing, and then it's really like just after we went, let's see, right here, 30, when we went off, here we go, Roosevelt, when they took possession of the gold, we started to climb back up, and then from that moment forward, it's literally just been all downhill. So whether if you believe in Bitcoin or not, I'm gonna ride it to wherever we get to, or to zero. I'm all in. I'm all the way until zero if we get to that point. If we get to zero, the world will be turned upside down anyways, and money is gonna be the last thing on any of our minds. So it's Bitcoin or nothing for me. Whatever it is for you, just do something. Get out of the traditional system. As Jeff Booth says, I got this one right here, The Price of Tomorrow. Shout out to Jeff Booth. Great book. I've read this book twice. I'm gonna read it a third time again. I got a long flight coming up here soon. I like to read that one. And so, yeah, we have to escape this current system. It's, our money, like I said in the last one, is like a melting ice cube. Every day, every second, it's just losing value. People are spending their hard time. They're spending 10 plus hours away from their family, from their friends, from things that they enjoy to do, to go out, work, to provide, a benefit to society, just to turn around and get their time and their currency stolen from them as they're doing that. It's not fair. It's not right. Nobody should have control of the money printer. And like I said, these powers that have this, they don't care about us. They don't care about the average day person. It's very clear, because they're just continuing to get more wealthy as a lot of people continue to struggle and things like that. So you have to break out of the system. You have to educate yourself. Go do a deep dive. What is money? The history of money, the history of banking, the history of the United States, or the history of whatever country you're in. Start just feeding yourself with as much of this information and knowledge as you can. It's really mind-opening, and it opens up a lot of doors, and it will lead you to people like Eustace Mullins. I never heard of him. I got put on Thomas Sowell so late in the game. I'm so I don't want to say disappointed as the word, but I really wish I would have heard about him growing up. Or maybe if I did hear about him, I just don't remember. But I wish people around me would have been like, hey, you need to read all this guy's books. And that is when I will read all of Thomas Sowell's books. I promise you guys that, unless I get taken off of this planet beforehand. But I'm on a mission to read most of his books. I have most of his books. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Like I said, appreciate any of you that have taken the time out of your day to tap in with me. And I look forward to doing this again next week.